Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in to the first episode of Rank It. This is a show where we're going to be ranking things, putting them into tiers, and because of the imminent opening of Epic Universe, we're going to talk about ranking the attractions at Epic Universe. And whenever I think of Universal, there's only one lady to go to, and it's this one. Annie, what's going on?
Hey, Rob. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to do this.
Thank you for doing it. I appreciate it. And, for those of you who have not been to Epic, we may have some spoilers on attractions. We may be talking a little bit in depth about these things tonight. So please make sure to watch with caution. We hope you will bear that in mind. You know what, Annie? Sometimes it's weird. I feel like some people want to know every little thing about an attraction before they go to the park. And some people, I know that I'm one, are like, don't tell me anything. I don't want to know. Which one are you? I assume you're the tell me everything.
No, I'm the opposite. I don't want
What?
to know anything. I know it's surprising. I think for the line of work I'm in, I have to know everything. So when I can not know something, I'm excited for that. That was one of the main things I wanted to get in Epic so early was I did not want to hear anything. I did not want to see anything. I just wanted it to be surprises. So
Yeah, that's exactly why I ran out to see Thunderbolts on Tuesday night because I was like, I don't want anybody else telling me that. I'm looking in chat and I see Ronald goes, uh-oh, uh, I will have to be cautious. Yes, Ronald, you know what, again, we're going to, I don't know. I feel like we got to talk about it a little bit to know what's going on with this stuff. So if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, don't forget to subscribe to Adventuring with Annie. We'll talk a little bit about both of those at the end here, but we appreciate you guys hanging out with us for this. So, here's the way we're going to do this is we're going to use a tiering system. It goes from S tier, which is the highest tier, and then A, B, C, D about how we're going to rank all of the attractions at Universal's Epic Universe. Now, Annie and I talked a little bit ahead of time, and I said, what should we include? What should we not include? Because like the Viking Playground is and the Splash Pad are both technically attractions, but I said I think we agreed not to talk about those tonight, right?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we'll talk about them next time.
Yep. So we are going to include. Hang on. We're going to include the main 11 attractions, as I'm calling them, and then also we're going to throw in the two shows. So we're going to do 13 different rankings tonight. We're not going to rank the meet and greets, even though Toad is blowing up the internet. We're not going to rank the Astronomica, which, as I mentioned, is the splash pad, or the Bowser Jr. Shadow Showdown, which is something you do inside the Super Nintendo world. So let's. I want to show you guys what we're cooking with here tonight, as far as the we'll call it the game board, for lack of a better term. So it's going to look like this. So we're going to rank these attractions. Like I said, it's going to start at S tier, which is our best in show. That's like the best of what they've got. And then the A tier will be the things we feel like you must do while you're there. B is I'd rather not miss this. C is it's okay to miss, and D is only if it's walk on. Annie, before we talked, I had one that was underneath that was said skip it, and I cut that one off of it
All
because
right.
I thought I don't really know that there's anything I would tell people to skip. If you have the time to do it, do it all. Why not?
Yeah, that's
So here's what I'm going to do. First, I'm just going to go through them, and I'm going to ask you your opinion talking about them. The first one that I want to talk about is Le Cirque Arcanus. I'm totally mispronouncing that. Wow. But that's
Arcanoe.
Arcanu. So that's the
Yeah,
show in the Harry Potter land, and
yeah.
it's from the Fantastic Beasts films. It's from the second one, I believe. And I love this show. And as a matter of fact, the people I went with were like, it was good, but they liked Untrainable Dragon better. What did you think of this show?
I was surprised because I've never seen Fantastic Beasts. I've seen, the Harry Potter movies, but I've read like some of the books, but I'm not a Harry Potter fan that knows what's going on. So I went into this thing thinking I'm going to be entertained, but not that, impressed. But I actually loved it. And I'm kind of torn between whether I like it almost better than Untrainable. It's it's got a lot of impressive things that just wow you and blow you away. And I don't want to do too many spoilers, obviously, but
Right.
there are moments that you're like, whoa, okay. So I think even without knowing anything about Fantastic Beasts or even anything about Harry Potter, you can follow the story and it's entertaining. So I loved it.
Yeah, I honestly, the effects of it, and like there was one big thing that surprises me and blows me away that I feel like we shouldn't spoil if people haven't gotten to that yet. But but when it started out in like the pre-show, I was like, oh, this is okay. And I didn't really know what was going on, and it was during technical rehearsals, so they were like, I was like, is this show actually going to happen? It was like day 2. I was like, is this going to happen? I don't know. And so the Untrainable Dragon we had tried to do and got actually we're not able to see the first one. We got like shoved out of that show and came back and saw it the second time. But for this one, I thought maybe this won't happen either. And it was a little slow, and maybe they've fine tuned it since then. There are some characters that walk around, and it's a little bit corny. I'm gonna say, right? I mean, the pre-show part maybe a little corny.
Oh yeah, I
Okay,
mean,
yeah.
there I
But once they get into the show itself and the effects, I thought it was really well done. So the way that we're going to do this is we're going to talk about these things, and it's hard to rank a show versus a coaster like Stardust Racer. So I think what we're going to do is talk about just the overall experience, the queue, the overall theming, and is it worth your time? And honestly, the queue for this one was pretty awesome as well.
that's what I was waiting for us to get to the queue. I love the
Yeah.
queue for this one.
Yeah.
One big thing that I want to point out about the queue is it's covered and indoors. So, Untrainable, I felt like I was cooking every time I was trying to see Untrainable. And there were, I think, 3 times that the show got canceled, and I'm just like out there like, oh, why am I out here? So at least when Arcanu got canceled, it was like, okay, I was inside covered. I
Yeah.
love the circus theming though, because I used to do circus stuff. So I'm like that's my, yeah, so
I used to do circus stuff. That's
yeah,
really, really interesting. Okay.
a previous
All right.
life.
So let's go to the board then for this one. And I would say, for me, and so we're gonna have to agree on this one, but for me, I would put this one at. I think it's a rather not miss. Like I would really want to do it, but if this is my first time in, I may not put it as a must do. Or would you put it as a must do?
I think it depends on if you're a Wizarding World fan. If you are a Wizarding World fan, probably a must do, but if not, I'd probably agree with you there. I mean, if you got time, because there's so many good things to do in the park. It's one of those things where I looked at it as, if you could pick one show, would I say do Arcanu or Untrainable? And as
Yeah,
much as I love How to Train Your Dragon, I think I got to say Arcanu.
yeah.
So, you know,
Um, let's leave it here for now. I'm not gonna make you like commit to it and swear
commit
to
to
it and all that
anything.
stuff. But let's leave it right here and let's talk about the next one in my queue. Is probably not the next one we should talk about, but I'm gonna talk about it anyway. Is Monsters Unchained. This was the
Oh,
one that going in, I knew I was going to be excited about. And again, didn't know anything about the ride mechanism. We had seen some spoiler stuff about, the screens and the animatronics. And honestly, until this point, I don't know that I thought Universal could pull off any auto or any animatronics until I saw this attraction. And I thought they may have passed Disney at this point with what they can do.
yeah. The animatronics. That was one thing I kind of wish they hadn't shown the animatronics before the ride opened, because we kind of saw a lot of them. Not all of them. There were a lot of surprises still in there. But I'm really glad that they used animatronics, because I'm a huge fan of animatronics. And there's so many times that we've seen screens or effects used at Universal. So when they actually put like real animatronics that work really well, and not like the Cat in the Hat animatronics, like thing one and thing two, like that, So I'm so glad that they put animatronics, and the combination of the ride system. I think it makes it much smoother, because for those that don't know, this is the same ride system is Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey, so it's a Kuka arm, but because there's fewer screens and less confusing motion, I think it's a much smoother, easier ride.
Yeah.
You know,
Care Bear's in the
have
chat and says, other than Vicky in the pre-show, I really hate projected faces on human figures. When we were there the very first time that you and I did it, I feel like Victoria's face was off,
yeah, her eyes were not right the first
and
time
it
we
was
saw her.
disturbing.
They were just like black. They had like no soul to them. It was really weird. I mean, she's obviously got no soul. I hope not, but but they were just very strange looking. So.
But Frank, the Frankenstein's monster that's in that room is by far the best, I think, animatronic, and the fact that you get to be that up close to him, I thought was really well done. And so yeah, I think she was a little bit off, but that's really the only time we see her with a projected face, right? When we see her in the attraction, it's a physical.
Yeah, which is what upsets me because I hate that projection face.
Yeah.
I got to be honest, I do not like that projection face, and I'm really hoping that they think that it doesn't work in the long run and they just update her because they can do faces that look good. I mean, Frankenstein looks fantastic. Next to her, he looks so much better because and he's expressive. He looks more expressive than she does with a fake face. I don't like her face. And you see the one on the ride. The one on the ride is, I mean, I again don't want to spoil it, but like she's got facial expressions. Why is the one in the
Yeah.
pre-show that you're closer to, that you're standing in front of for a longer period of time? I think that you
Right.
have that long period, you have a long time to go like that doesn't look right. Like the longer, or if you're at a certain angle, the projection on her face just hits wrong. I've been
Yeah.
through enough that I'm like, the more I see it, the more I'm just like, it doesn't work. I almost feel like that would work better on the ride because you're going past her so fast on the ride. I don't want to say who cares if her face was a projection there, but you probably wouldn't overanalyze it like you do standing in that room for whatever 3 minutes or however long you're in there. The
Yeah.
longer you look at her, the longer it's like this. It's not.
Well,
Not
yeah,
really
Care
good.
Bear said my thoughts exactly, Annie, and J Ware said the frozen ones freak me out. Yeah, the Anna and Elsa. So Anna and Elsa, for everyone, I'm pretty sure knows this that's watching this, but Anna and Elsa at the Frozen Ever After attraction at Epcot, they're projections. But when you go to the one in Hong Kong, they're like real. I mean, not real, but they're like animatronic faces. And so I wonder if at some point that they will fix this because of how high end Frank is and how high end Dracula is and all. Like it's almost like it's doing them the only disservice that I can really think of in this attraction was that face. The queue, when you walk the entire queue, like the first time we did it, we
Oh,
walked the entire queue. It's amazing. There's too much to take in.
yeah. Really loud and the lights and everything. And, just it's like telling the story. But that first moment that you walk in and that double staircase, and then the fact that it's a like real staircase you're going to use, because I'm so used to, facades and fake things and, optical illusions. And it's like, wait a second, we get to go up those stairs.
Right. It's
That,
not just a
that,
showpiece. It's an actual
yeah,
thing that you can do. The
right.
title of this, by the way, I put as Monsters Unchained, but it's Monsters Unchained, the
The
Frankenstein Experiment.
Frankenstein experiment.
Too long. It's too long.
Universal likes long names. Everything, Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure. Do you know how long it took me to learn that, to type that out for tweets? I was checking the app like, okay, let me make sure I did not miss a word. Creatures. It was triggered.
The
It's a
Journey
long
of
name.
Water inspired by Moana. I mean, come on. It's
Okay,
like,
that's
I feel
dumb.
like, yeah. Tiana's
This must
Bayou
be the
Adventure.
Universal people.
Yeah, everybody's got to like shorten stuff. So I think most people call it monsters. I feel like that's
Yeah.
the vernacular we're using, right? We're calling it monsters. Yeah, the ride was great. The I don't think we say the ride system. Do we? Should we? I mean, is
Oh,
that too
I
much of
said
a spoiler?
earlier.
Oh yeah,
I
okay. So
said
it's
it.
the same as Forbidden Journey. It's the same
Yeah.
thing, but Forbidden Journey makes my wife queasy. This one she got off of, and she was like, "Let's go again." Like she wanted to get back on it again. So
Same.
Yeah.
I that was our first ride that we did. And for anyone that doesn't know, Rob and I went to the park for the first time together, so it was great. Yes, oh look
We
at us, so
we
happy.
did. We did. We got our picture
We
taken
did
with
it.
Toothless and Isle of Burke, and it was great. Yeah, it was. So we actually had this experience together. Andy's had it
Yeah,
90 times since then, but we we've had this experience together.
you
So
too.
let's go back again to the ranking then, and I'm gonna say I think this needs to be S tier. I think this is the best
Yeah,
that they have.
it,
Do you agree?
it is.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. That I do want to say one thing real quick though. I don't know if you've seen it. Have you seen what happens when Victoria Frankenstein in the pre-show isn't working? Their B mode. They have a
No.
screen. They put her on the screen or whatever. So
Gotcha.
it just so you know that projection phase. Let's just put it out there. Change the projection. I'm just
Yes,
throwing it out
and
there
it
for
feels like
anyone
something they
that's
could
watching.
do. It feels like
It's
something they
not
could do.
too late. It's
It's
not too
not too
late.
late. Park hasn't even opened yet. You should totally be able to fix this. There's one other one that I think is in contention for S tier, but when we get to that point, I think there's a lot of
Right.
technical issues that may have us maybe thinking something different. But let's go to Stardust Racers. I freaking loved this coaster, but my favorite part of this experience was doing this roller coaster with Annie. And I told this story on somewhere else, is that we were walking up and she was like, I'm not sure I want to do this. And the closer we got, the more scared I literally got for her, because I couldn't tell where you were at with this, because you're like, oh my god, should I do this? I should leave. I don't know if I can do this. I did. And I'm like, I was really like thinking, do you want me to talk you into this, or are you trying to get me to talk you out of this? What do you want to do? And she and I rode it side by side, and afterwards she was like, oh, I'm so glad I did that. It was so great. Have you ridden it since, I assume?
Yeah, I have. I Oh my God, I love it so much now. But yeah, you remember I was like, I don't think I could do this. I don't think I should do this. Even when I got in there and the seat things on me, I'm like, I don't think I should be doing this. I did not want to do it. But I just the second that first launch hit, the yellow coaster, it just changed my life. I suddenly was like, yeah, I'm down.
That
So
whole experience was because I went in completely blind to everything, but that whole experience was unreal. Um, and like the dueling coasters, I've never done one that felt like it was truly dueling the way this is. I mean, even the
yeah.
dueling dragons, I don't think got this close, did they?
No. Have you ever been to Cedar Point?
No. Is there one
Okay.
worse, one more
Well,
intense?
it's Gemini is a wooden coaster, so it doesn't crisscross and stuff, but it goes next to each other and you can high five on it, which is super dangerous. So like, yeah, I worked in attractions where we would e-stop, like at Sky Trolley, if people reached out to try to high five, we would emergency stop it. And so I went with someone that I worked with from Sky Trolley and we're on the ride and I'm like high fiving people on this coaster and they're having a heart attack like about it. And so Cedar Point is not the safest place, by the way. I would not advise
I
going
worked at
there.
King's Dominion, by the way. King's Dominion,
Oh,
which is owned by Cedar Fair now, but it was not at the time. And we had one called the Rebel Yell at the time. It's called something else now because Rebel Yell seems not good. But anyway, so yeah, it was like up and down, like it was a wooden coaster, but it was not close enough to high five on. There was a red side and a blue side, but this one, man, I did not know what I was getting into, honestly. And when we did it
this
afterwards, it
is
was like,
look
and you
here.
know
I
what?
mean, you can see people. You can see people on the other side.
But Velocicoaster, until this, Velocicoaster was clearly my favorite coaster I think that I had ever been on. And I love the theming of Tron. I love the theming of Hagrid's. I love the theming. But Velocicoaster for just a coaster is so smooth and yet does everything. And so I don't know which one I like better. Have you've made a decision between Velocicoaster and Stardust Racers?
I'm a Jurassic girl, but I have to say
Ah,
I would rather ride Stardust.
gotcha. That is true.
Believe it
You
or
are a
not.
Jurassic girl. All right, so
I am.
then
That's the problem.
that makes this tough then, because like I feel like this goes under must do. I feel like it's an
Is
easy
that
A. Do you think it goes in an S tier?
I don't, because the queue lacks a lot of theming. If the
Yes.
queue had more theming, I would totally put it S tier. It's
Okay.
just it's too Cedar Point queue where it just feels kind of bland.
No,
That's
you're absolutely right. That does feel that way. And this one sits in Celestial Park, and so it's not like, heavy IP themed. It but it, and but I mean it's grand. It's like when you
yeah.
walk into that load station, it feels like Grand Central Station, like getting on at Hogwarts, the Hogwarts Express. But you're right, in the queue itself, it feels like you're at like a water park almost. It's just because you're just seeing the supports and there's nothing else really there about it. That's a great point.
Yeah.
All right,
So
all right.
that's the only complaint about Stardust is it needs a better queue.
Gotcha. All right, so we got one in each. So here, let's go. I'm gonna move this one after, and I'm gonna go to Yoshi's Adventure.
Ooh.
You know what? Yoshi's a fun little ride. I went to, and you did too, to Hollywood to Super Nintendo World when that one first opened, so that I could experience Mario Kart and the Land. And Mario Kart and the Land are the same in both, basically. Obviously, there's more to this one because it has Donkey Kong Country and it has the Yoshi attraction, but the Yoshi ride, I think a lot of people have compared it to, say, like the High in the Sky Trolley or the People Mover, where it's just kind of a nice little ride. Because of that, I don't know, but if you're a Nintendo fan, the queue I think is pretty good. What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah, I the queue for Yoshi is really good. I like that there's a couple like interactive things you can do with the power up band and hit. It's cute. It's themed. Stairs though.
What is with Universal and stairs? First time I ever noticed that really like in my face was Gringotts, and when you
Oh,
come out of the elevators, an elevator. There literally was It's not a real one, but it's an elevator, and then they make you take stairs. So they walk you into that, and there's like stairs there, and I thought to myself, how is this not? How is the ADA not on like like a long call with them all the time about how many stairs there are? And but yeah, there was a lot of
I've
stairs in
never
Yoshi.
thought of I've never thought about that. That you get out of an elevator and go
Right?
upstairs.
Right? So
Oh
I mean
man.
it's a cute ride. It has the interactivity on it with the three buttons and or the three spaces, and it's cute stuff to see and all that kind of stuff.
Wish it went a little faster. Like Sky Trolley is like 8 miles per hour, and Sky Trolley is much faster, and People Mover is a little faster. I just wish it would go a little faster because there hits a point where I'm like, I'm baking in the sun again and
Yeah.
going slow on the ocean. I'm like,
Keep Annie
okay,
out
get
of
me
the
inside.
sun for the love of
Get,
God. So are you thinking rather not miss or okay to miss?
I think okay
I'm
to miss.
Yeah, honestly, I think that's a thing. Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. And it's funny. I'm not sure I would have said that coming into it, but as we're talking about it, I'm like, eh. And especially the weight. Like, if you're going to have these immense weights, that's the other thing I'm looking at when I look at this is, would it be worth the wait? Monsters is worth the wait. Stardust is worth the wait. Is Yoshi's worth the wait? Probably not.
No,
And remember, people used to have to wait for that Radio Disney boat ride at Disney, and they'd wait forever, and then it would get on it, and they'd be like, "Why did I wait so long for this?" I feel like sometimes there are attractions when you wait that long. I felt that way about Jimmy Fallon.
oh, everyone felt that way about Fast and Furious.
Yes, that's true. Everybody felt that way about Fast and Furious. All right, so we've actually got one in each tier right now. So
I do.
this is going to be an interesting one. What? Go ahead.
And I was just going to say the only thing that redeems Yoshi is that the queue is indoor, but the ride
Keep
is outdoor
Yeah.
because it's going to close in the weather. That's the downside.
It
So
does
it's not
though. I
like
mean,
you can escape the rain by going on this ride. It's you're going to be in the rain.
yeah, I definitely keep thinking about the trolley in Seuss Landing every time I'm thinking about this because of goes in for a little bit to like that little cave and then comes out immediately and then you're out for the rest of the thing and then you're like when you get to the end you're like wait it's over okay I'll get out.
Oh,
Yeah, exactly. I think this one's going to be interesting because I would have had a different opinion had I not ridden this, but the Constellation Carousel. First of all, the fact that it is unlike any carousel I've ever been on. I mean, and it's not like scary or anything, but it's just it has the up and down, but then it moves and it has its own like tracks and things in it, and it doesn't like, it's really cool looking, and it's very like the animals are very beautiful, and then at the same time it has different ride patterns that it'll do based on the song, right?
Yeah. And I
Ride
keep getting bad
profiles.
songs. I've gotten
Profiles.
bad songs every
Oh yeah.
time. I want a
Okay.
good song. I watch and I'm like, oh, that one looks fun. Like the lights are going different colors and it's going forward, backwards, like all upbeat. And then I get on and it was like a waltz. And I'm like, oh, it's so slow.
Yeah. Well, but again, like I feel like this is more of a kids thing, but also I don't know how long I would wait on this one either. It was beautiful. I think when we wrote it, we were all like, "That was really cool." But now that I'm thinking about it, and if I'm balancing everything, like I almost feel like this one goes next to Yoshi in the okay to miss category.
Ooh,
You think it should go to rather not miss?
I almost think it's only if a walk on because I think it's
Oh,
something like,
okay.
because if I was walking by, if the park was busy and that was a 5 minute wait, I would do it. But if Yoshi was a 5 minute wait, I would probably think like, "Ooh, do I really want to be sitting in the sun slow?" But constantly the carousel, you get different songs, so I'm like, "Oh, I might try, see if I get a better song." And at night, it's really nice too. So I think I
Yeah,
would actually go with the carousel. But the problem is it's such a low capacity because there's not very many animals. Got to load people on, seatbelt them,
right.
get them off, and load.
And when we wrote it again, we were in technical rehearsals, and there were several of them that were like shut off, like they had like don't ride this one, so that
Yeah,
one that made the capacity even worse. But yeah, now that you say that again, I agree. Easy. That's an easy pick for walk on only. Now the thing about that one though is, I think if you go by it and look at it, it's a beautiful thing to see. So maybe take it in, but if
yeah.
like you said, only if it's walk on for that one. Here's a one I'm trying to figure out if Fire Chief was calling this a poor man's answer to Cosmic Rewind, or if you're talking about something else. But I maybe that was Rip Ride Rocket. I don't know. But but Curse of the Werewolf is the next one. So there were so many roller coasters, and my wife doesn't do roller coasters, and so when we went the first day, when you and I went together, you didn't
We
do it
did.
the first day,
No, we didn't do it that day. I did it
right?
the next time I went.
Right. So did I. Yeah. So I appreciated it. A lot of people complain about the theming of it because they say it takes you out of the immersion of Darkmoor. Because you've got people yelling and screaming out here when you're walking down Darkmoor and you're walking in and you see the actors and Igor and all these places where you're walking around, and then you see the castle and the lightning, and then you see a carnival ride almost over to the side. But I feel like it's set up like a carnival ride, like it's supposed to be that kind of a thing. No, like with the wagon out front, maybe. I'm giving them too
Man,
much.
now that you say that, it is, I think, the thing that probably could go first, honestly, when the time comes. It was my least favorite thing at Epic, probably the thing I would never, ever waste my time on again. I
Wow.
had, I know, and I've never done Cosmic Rewind, so I can't
Yeah.
compare the two, unfortunately. But I will say I'm scared if I ever get over there because I almost wanted to throw up after Curse of the Werewolf. I'd also been drinking,
Well,
so
it's the spinning that makes it similar. Like that's what makes it
yeah,
similar. Is that but this one almost feels like free fall spinning, whereas Cosmic Rewind points you to where they
it's
want you to look.
controlled. Yeah,
It's
like the new
controlled.
Fast and Furious coaster is going to be the new Fast and Furious drifting coaster is going to be controlled where they rotate you where they want you
Yeah.
versus Werewolf is free spinning and just weight based. I think Werewolf though, I think what made me sick was that we went through and somebody said, "Oh, did you see the werewolves?" And I started going, "Where?" And I just think I just spent so much time looking around that I got really
I
disoriented then.
I honestly didn't see the werewolf either. I know where it was. I know where it
I didn't
was.
I never saw it.
It's an animatronic. It's very similar to Hagrid's in the whole thing where they send you out and they run you through his hut. But in that one, you're forced to see him. right? Like the
Yeah.
Hagrid animatronic. This one, it was in there was like a shack, and he was in the shack, but I didn't like pay attention because we were spinning around and I didn't know it was coming. So like I haven't ridden it a second time. So I mean, so with that said, and again, the queue was the worst one. Maybe Stardust was the worst, and then this.
No, because Stardust has a breeze. This thing felt like I was being cooked alive in there. If I
Don't
was
put
like, I
Annie in
need.
the sun,
I know. You should see.
or she will de-rank your attraction. That's exactly,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, so
No,
I'm gonna put this under okay to miss, or are you walk on
I
only?
don't. No, okay to miss. I would
Okay.
never recommend anyone waste their life here. The animatronic at the end doesn't move. You can't see the werewolves. I mean,
The other thing is
it's
when you're
just
in the station and you look up and you're supposed to see like the moon or something in there,
yeah.
that effect I think was kind of lost. There's a lot of it that was kind of lost. I think it might be something that if it'd be better if you wrote it 18 times. Um, but yeah, it was. I mean, it's Curse of the Werewolf. So we're putting that one at okay to miss.
Yeah.
So moving to a different coaster that I actually am a little bit more excited about on this one is Dragon Racers Rally in Burke. You wait.
Oh wait, are we talking about the coaster? We talk because Hiccups is the coaster. Hiccups
Hiccups
Wing
is the coaster.
Gliders.
Dragon Racers Rally. As a matter of fact, let's talk about Dragon Racers Rally later. Yes, you're right. I'm sorry. I even
No.
put a pretty picture.
I always think the names get mixed up. I feel like
They 100% do.
everyone.
I just did it. I literally just did it. So Hiccups Wing Gliders. Now, here's the thing about Hiccups Wing Gliders is that my wife was again very motion sick, but she like had been doing C bands and other things to try to like curtail that. We had to put everything in the lockers. Universal must have like investments in the locker companies because there are lockers for everything you do at Universal, and other companies are doing that more often too now. But you had to put your stuff in a locker for Hiccups Wing Gliders, and Jake, who was our guide on this one, was telling us that smooth as butter. Literally what he said, smooth as butter. And so I was excited. Now the queue wasn't anything overly special. There was a couple little things sitting out, but it's an outdoor queue. And so it wasn't like over the top. And you hear Hiccup explaining about what they're doing, what's going to happen. And there's like, I don't know, it was the outdoor of it felt very Cedar Point to me. And again, I haven't been to Cedar Point, so King's Dominion, same thing. But the outdoor queue of that felt that way to me. The coaster I really liked. I liked the things you see along the way. I liked how it goes. It has that Slinky Dog slow down and start you up again situation. I liked it. You tell me your thoughts on it.
It's my favorite ride
Oh,
at
okay.
Universe. My favorite ride. I call it Baby Hagrid because it's kind of like Hagrid's, just a little less intense. I love it. I just think the queue is the biggest issue. Again, I'm in the sun half the time, or I'm under a like fake tarp that doesn't actually cover me. I hate it. I think, oh, okay, we got water fountains, we got bathrooms in the queue. You couldn't have put air conditioning. You couldn't have put a roof. I mean, it's just saying. But anyway,
Yeah.
that's for another day. But back to the
All right.
ride.
All right.
So
So
I
so
love.
let's talk about this then, because you said it's your
Yeah,
favorite ride. I,
that's
I
the problem is I can't rank it S tier. I can't put it at the top because that queue was terrible.
all right.
I mean,
I,
not
I'll put that.
terrible.
I'll put that must
You got
do
to,
as yeah,
yeah.
I'll put that must do. I agree with that one. So the thing about it is that Burke is amazing, and if we were ranking lands, and we'll talk about lands when we talk next time,
Mhm.
but I mean they're the worlds, not lands. But I Burke is amazing to me, and so I'm a huge fan. And so this is a great attraction in a great land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I
Okay.
want to put it at the top. Like I said, it's my favorite ride. If you ask me what my favorite, I know people will say Ministry or Monsters a lot of the time, but Hiccups Wing Gliders is my favorite ride. And I just wish that the queue had a little more theming, or a little more something to it. And I know that I know it is themed, but I just a little better queue, and I would put it at the very top, and it would beat Monsters in my opinion. But I could ride
Well,
that over and over. I could stay on Hiccups all day. That's my favorite.
um, well, since I brought it up before, let's talk about Dragon Racers because I was not planning on doing this one. I don't love swings. I don't love things that go upside down. I don't mind them. I can do them, but I wasn't planning like we were talking about. I wasn't planning on doing this one, and this is what it looks like. If you, it reminds me of something I saw at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, where it was like this Da Vinci thing, and so basically you're training to fly a dragon, and so it was not what I expected, and I think you can do as much or as little in this as you want, and the views were amazing. Again, the queue kind of sucks, but it's better because it has the sheep in it, and that's kind of cute.
I was gonna give it credit for the sheep, the animatronic sheep at the front and all around. I'm like, okay, it gets a little credit for the sheep. It's not. Could have had
But
some
the rest
sheep
of
in
it,
the other.
yeah. I mean, the rest of it felt like a queue for a kiddie ride. Honestly, if like a Camp Snoopy situation. I don't know. I'm looking at it and I'm just like the queue was okay. The ride was better than I thought it would be. It wasn't super intense, but one of the things we enjoyed doing when we were there was trying to see. It was like first day for people who were not team members. It was first day for like normal folk. And when we were there, I know you were obsessed with this, watching the people who were trying to flip the thing upside down. And
Yeah,
have you ridden it again since we rode it?
I have, and I still can't get it to flip. And I, it, I'm just going at it so hard. I'm like, I'm gonna be working out all summer long because I'm gonna get in shape because I'm gonna be the strongest person and flip that one of these days. It takes some power. I don't.
Yeah.
It's not
And
easy to
again,
flip.
I
Somebody
wasn't
said it's more
planning.
like a Dumbo ride because you can't flip it. It's so hard to flip. It's more like Dumbo just going around.
No, no. I mean, it's got the individual thing to it too. But one of the things that I didn't realize when we were riding it before is that there are two, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
only saw the one we were on, and I guess I thought that was the thing. But there were two of them for, I guess, for capacity and for getting people through there. So that's actually not too bad. But I'm interested in knowing. I'm going to let you go first on this. Where do you think this one goes? Because I don't think it's walk on only, but I think it's okay to miss. Or
I
is it
think it's
walk on
okay.
only?
I'm torn between walk on only and okay to miss because if it was walk on, I would do it honestly. I think it's fun, and I want to try to flip it. So that's almost like the re-rideability to me is that I haven't been able to flip it, and I want to. So I'm torn. I think most people could probably be okay to miss it, but I think I would do it if it was a walk on. I don't know. Where are you at?
Yeah, I, just because it's unique, I would say it's okay to miss and not walk on, meaning that I would rank it higher than walk on because it's unique. That's the thing is
Okay.
sometimes when you get into theme parks, it's the thing you've seen before. If you're riding Test Track, it's Cars Land. If you're riding Transformers, it's Spider-Man. If you're, but it's
Yeah.
unique. I don't think I've ever done anything specifically like this. At the same time, it feels a little carnival ride-ish, but it's themed. And the voice actress who plays in why am I forgetting her name? What is the girl's name?
Astrid.
Astrid. Yeah. So the voice actress who does Astrid, which is America Ferrera, we were in queue watching the how to video that they had put together, and it was her voice. And I said to everybody, I was like, oh my god, that's really cool. They got her like the actual voice of Astrid. And Jake looked at me like I was an idiot and said, well, we are a movie company. How would you not think we would be able to make that happen? But it was one of those things where I'm like impressed that they got the actual voices. Jay Baruchel does the voice of Hiccup for the winged gliders, so it was neat that they had them all involved with that. I think Burke in general is great, so I think that doing each thing in there is a lot of fun. So I think we'll leave it at okay to miss instead of just walk on, because I think you could
Okay.
walk out of there watching it and go, yeah, the same thing as the carousel. Watch it and go, that's pretty cool. But I think if you get on it, it is unique. But the queue is not anything special, and I think that if you left and didn't do it, you still could say I did Epic Universe. Whereas I feel like Stardust Racer is it's a little bit more important that you do
Yeah.
that one.
Hmm.
Let's talk about Mario Kart. The first the first time I did Mario Kart was in Hollywood, as we talked about here. The queue is amazing. Like for somebody who's like a Mario geek the way I am, I loved the queue and all the little throws in the queue and Bowser's Castle. It was amazing. By the way, I feel like that one's also got one of those ridiculously long names, doesn't it? It's like it's Mario Kart colon Bowser's Challenge.
Bowser's Challenge. Yeah.
So it's, I mean, if it's there, I'm torn about this attraction in general because I feel like it's been out long enough that everyone knows. So I think we can say it's an AR experience. And when you go on this and you get in the car and you go around, you're going through physical sets, but you have these doofy looking shields on your face. And you can't walk in with pride on this one. You got to wear the dumb thing. But when you ride it, it's kind of cool. But I would prefer if it was all physical sets and not the AR. But the AR is what makes it feel like you're gaming in there. It's definitely an e-ticket over the top attraction with the queue, with everything that's there. However, I feel like I can read on your face it's not in your top.
No, it's probably the thing I forget exists here at Epic Universe.
Wow.
I'm sorry, and that's you know, but it will be open during the thunderstorms of the summer, so it's got some potential to it. But I think like I've been on it in Hollywood enough, so it kind of doesn't do it for me. Like the novelty wore off. The headset is clunky and uncomfortable to wear. It doesn't, it's not something I need to do anymore, I think. So I think I would do it if it was a walk on. That's kind of where I'm at, to get out of the sun, to get to do something. But
Annie in the Sun. I'm telling you. You know what? For this one, I'm going to fight you a little bit on this one. I think that this one is. I would put it as rather not miss because I feel like if
oh,
you're a Mario fan and you haven't done it before, I feel like you've got to do it.
okay.
And especially if you're like a gamer and you love the gamification of like if you bought your power up band and everything. I'm not saying it's a must do. I'm definitely not saying that, but
No.
I think it's in the middle. Can we
Yeah,
do that?
I can, okay, I can go with that because, I've done it, but I think if you haven't done it, the AR thing is new to people and it's different than anything else. So like you said, something that you don't find that everywhere else. So I think that gives it a lot of credit. So okay, I'm okay with that.
But when you ride this one, though, if you've ridden the one in Hollywood, which we had, I think when you come to this one, you're like, do we need to do this? As a matter of fact, I feel like when we were there, we were disappointed in some things in Super Nintendo World because you couldn't get the cake you wanted, and then we
No.
kept going back and forth trying to get this, and it was down more than it was up.
Yeah, and when I did not think Toadstool Cafe food was that great. I couldn't get my cake. The ride was down, and when I eventually got on it, I don't think it was as good as Hollywood's. I know it's a copy, but how was it? Didn't feel as good. I felt
How
Rainbow
it's
Road
a
felt
copy. How
like
is it not as good?
I don't
All right,
know. It felt like
here's then what redeems if that's a meh. Here's what redeems, in my opinion, Super Nintendo World, and it is the Minecart Madness. Donkey Kong.
yes.
That one is definitely one that I feel like is a much cooler attraction to me. But again, part of it could be that I didn't get to do it before. But I loved the fact that like if you when you go to Hollywood, this is and it's just called Minecart Madness. I was looking for some long Donkey Kong name in front of it, but it's just Minecart Madness. But when you go to Hollywood, there isn't Yoshi and there isn't this extension for Donkey Kong Country. So when we went in there, it was like we finally got something brand new for us that we hadn't seen in Super Nintendo World. Now again, Super Nintendo World for the first time, it's like walking into, for me anyway, like walking into Diagon Alley for the first time. When you walk into it the first time, you're like, whoa, it's just sensory overload. It's amazing. And so it's like, well, I can go do the power up band and I can do the Yoshis and I can do like, there's a lot of things to see, but the Donkey Kong Country's tucked in the back. And when you walk in, it's like a second reveal in a big reveal world. And I loved every bit of that little area. I wish that area was bigger.
Me too. I love that. I love Donkey Kong. I love that area. I almost like the Donkey Kong area better than the Mario area. I don't know. It's just I think like
Yeah.
the waterfall and the trees and the lush. It just looks. I love that.
But I wonder again if some of that's just because we had done the one in Hollywood first, and then well, it was
Probably.
like that was kind of old hat. This was again like a breath of fresh air. That said, I think that attraction, the whole cool thing about that one, and they designed it for Japan and then put it in here in Orlando, is that it's a dual track, so that it gives the illusion that you're jumping the track like the video game, like Donkey Kong Country. You're jumping from one broken track to the next, and I didn't expect it to be as fun. I knew it was going to be fun, but I didn't expect it to be as fun as it was. And so I walked out of there thinking this one was my favorite attraction. Just like you said about Hiccup, this one was my favorite attraction walking out of there. So when I have my list of things that we're going to take our family back to do, this one's definitely high up there. So, and the queue is good. The queue's not great. The queue feels like this is going to sound weird. So bear with me and tell me I'm wrong. But Ripsaw Falls. It feels a little Ripsaw Falls because like there's some areas that are like meh, and then there's some areas that are like, wow. Like it feels very industrial. Like when you go up the ramps, like there's just brick or concrete. And then you turn the corner and then there's like a whole animatronic. And you're like, wait, where did this come from?
Yeah. I
But
know.
see, Dudley Do Right, though, when I'm walking through there makes me sad because it's dripping because it's a water ride. And
Hate it in there. I hate it.
all
Right?
right, so you disagree. But I mean, the queue is a 50-50 for me. It's not, it's covered.
Yeah, I know most. Yeah, some of it's covered. So
Okay.
the front part, I got in the front part, unfortunately, and it wasn't totally. It was a little shaded, but it still was outsidey. So,
Okay,
but
so talk to me about this one then. Minecart Madness. I would put it on a must do. Would you
yeah,
would you?
yeah, I would
Okay.
must do. I think it's probably it's one of my top ones.
All right, so let's get back to this. Burke, fire drill. I couldn't get Jake or my wife to go on fire drill because they were like, my shoes are going to get wet. What are your thoughts on fire drill? And again, this is really, am I mistaken in thinking this is legitimately the only water ride in this park?
I mean,
It's not
other
even
than
a water ride. You just get wet.
I mean, Astronomica is a splash pad, so there is some
Well,
water. They call it an
yeah,
attraction, so we're gonna
yeah.
go with what
We
they
left it
say.
out.
Yeah. Yeah, but it is the only water ride at Epic Universe. And I mean, you get really wet. I know a lot of people are saying it could compete with Popeye and Bluto's, which you get soaked on. But I think Popeye and Bluto's is more fun, honestly. But I like Fire Drill. I got on it, but again, nobody would ride with me either, so I had to go. And it was like half the boats weren't working, so it was one of the longest things I waited for. And I just needed to ride it so I could say I rode everything. So I'm standing there in the queue, and the water's coming over the wall, and I'm getting soaked, and I'm like, I don't even want to get wet. Why am I doing this? I didn't get as wet on the ride. I think I got more wet in the queue, honestly. But it was fun. I don't know how. I don't think. I would ever really need to do it unless I was super hot. But again, I don't want my shoes to get wet, and that's what's going to happen on there.
Yeah.
So, did you end up riding it?
Jay Ware says Crocs. They probably sell Crocs. Get Crocs. Here's the
Okay,
thing about
I
this
did
one.
bring
Like, I don't
I
think it
did bring
has
a
an.
change of clothes when I was going to ride. I brought a change of clothes when I was going to ride, though. So
So it's basically it's a boat ride where you fire at things and things fire back at you. So in that element, it's kind of like um, like a Men in Black where you're shooting at things and they're targets and then the targets interact with you. So, but it's set up to look like the kids of Burke set this up, and so it's set up to look like it's a carnival ride almost, and it's in the middle there, and so it's supposed to look a little homemade. Um,
mm,
Visually, I think it does what it was supposed to do, but I don't love that, especially in a land that's so immersive as Burke is. It feels a little bit like Dudley Do Right, um, but like it's. I think that most people would have some fun on it, but that's going to be a tough one. I feel like for both of us to rank this. So um, I feel like this is a. It's kind of like we talked about with Dragon Racers. It's something that's unique, but also I don't think that if you walk out of there without doing it, you wouldn't be okay. Where do you feel like it needs to go?
it's got to go on the bottom for me. It's got
Okay.
to go on the bottom.
Yeah. Which again, I think that's like Kali River Rapids or Popeyes or Dudley Do Right. All of them get you soaked. Now, nothing has ever gotten me as soaked as Ripsaw Falls, I don't think. And maybe that's just because I was in a boat with a lot of heavy people, including myself, and so I think we just sunk it down a little bit and just drenched. Popeyes, I know, will get you drenched, and then you got the people, which is probably inspiration for this. You got the people up on
Yeah.
the Me Ship the Olive shooting water at you, which is probably they're like, well, why don't we reverse it, and then the people on the boat shoot. Um, but I get it. If a lot of times when we're talking about a water ride, even if it's like, a flume, my wife will go, well, let's wait till we're going to get back or go back to the hotel and then we'll ride it first before we do that. And I'm just like, okay, I don't know. Water rides are great when you ride them, but I think everybody kind of is apprehensive about getting wet, especially when you're going to have to walk around all day afterwards. So,
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah.
two left. One of
All
them
right.
is a show, and because we've been kind of talking about Burke, and you would think that Burke has like the most attractions, does it? Because we didn't even include the Viking
Yeah.
playground in this.
And all the meet and greets. It's got the best meet and greets too.
Yeah. You don't think that like I really want to meet Donkey Kong. Like I feel like Super Nintendo
Oh,
World between Toad and Donkey Kong, and have you met Donkey Kong already?
no, he was not
Yeah.
out when the times I went. It's
Yeah.
on my
Um,
list.
Yeah, I know, me too. So let's talk about the Untrainable Dragon then, because again, this show is the one that blew everyone away, and I know our boy Jake is a huge fan of the franchise How to Train Your Dragon, and it was good. But again, I sat through. They kept trying it because it was technical rehearsals, and they tried it, and then they paused it, and then they tried it again, and they paused it, and then they dumped the show. And then when we came back, we saw the whole thing, and it was impressive. But this is a show that came from somewhere else. Like this show already existed, and they brought it over here, and so that shouldn't take anything away from it. And I do think it was good, but I think I was the only one in our group that was like, I liked Arkanu probably a little bit better. But
I'm I'm with you. I'm
you
with
think
you.
so?
Yeah, I loved Untrainable. The first time I saw it, it worked great. I cried. It was great. It was, I mean, just beautiful. The second time I saw it, I took my mom, and Toothless didn't work.
Oof.
And I think, yeah, and I would have rather them have canceled the show than pretty much have. I hate to say it, but wasted our time. Not
Yeah.
putting anybody down or anything, but it's like that is the point of the show. Because let me tell you, without Toothless, there's about a 3 minute segment of just screens showing trees and smoke, and everyone's just kind of like, what's supposed to be happening?
I'm surprised they didn't
And
take it down for that.
I'm
Um,
shocked, and I just it kind of ruined the show because it just, my mom was just like, what
well,
was
but you know
missing
what?
there?
There's a possibility though that they may have just let that run because it's in previews. I wonder if it was an actual like after May 22nd, if they will continue, if that would be a thing that they would dump the show for or not.
Someone else had told me, they said, "Oh, isn't Toothless supposed to fly?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then we went and saw it the same day that they told me he didn't fly. I don't know why I didn't think, oh, I just thought, well, he didn't fly for one show, he's going to fly for the next. I should have put two and two together. He wasn't flying at all that day. But Hiccup runs on the stage and he's like, "That was a great flight." And I'm like, this makes no sense now. And you're hearing sounds of Toothless. It just really lost a lot without Toothless. And the first time I saw it, it was great. The second time I saw it, it just kind of was lame. And my mom was like, it didn't do anything without that moment. So I got to go with Arkanu being the one you got to see
Right.
over Dragons. I'm shocked that I'm saying that because I love Toothless. So
You know, when we saw it, there, Astrid's Dragon was in the first one, and then we got dumped. And when we came back the second time, Astrid's Dragon wasn't in it, and that's not even that's more of a puppet than it is an actual like animatronic. So it's interesting that that wasn't in there, but. Yeah, I did like the show. I thought it was good. I can see where you would be upset if there was no Toothless in it, but again, the one thing that I would love to say about this though is I love the way that this theater loads. Is that it loads left and right, and they move you to the center rather than you walking into one side and having to move all the way across. They load you left and right into the center, and I thought, why hasn't this been a thing before? Because that way, if you're the first one in, you get a good seat. If you're the first one into the Hall of Presidents or whatever, they make you move all the way over to this to the end. And this one, if you're first one in, you're in the center, and it's a great seat. It's so smart, and it loads so much faster. Why don't we do that everywhere?
there's so many things that they've learned from, and they go, oh, look, we can load and unload twice as fast if we have them coming from both sides.
No, but
So
but yet
great.
I saw that one, and then I saw Arkanu, and I was like, why doesn't that one do it? Now maybe it's because of the way the pre-show works, and you have to go into
Yeah.
yeah, but I thought that was genius, and I loved it. So now we got to figure out where this one goes, Annie. I feel like this is in a rather not miss with Arkanu, or would you put it in okay to? You can't put that in okay to miss, can you?
You got to put rather not miss. You got to put it up higher than
Okay, all
that.
right,
It's
cool,
so
cool.
good
So
with Toothless. It's great.
yeah, yes,
I'm just
exactly.
mad there
Except
was
no
no Toothless
substitutes.
that one time.
That leaves
No
us with
sun,
one
no
left.
Toothless. I hate
Yes,
the sun
exactly.
and I hate no
Keep Annie
Toothless.
out of the sun and keep a lot of dragons around her.
Yes.
This leaves us with one, and it's the battle at the Ministry. And I've got to be honest and
Oh,
come clean and say I didn't ride this one because the day we were there, it hadn't opened yet. It's opened for a little while. It's going to be closed before the preview is over. It's going to close at the end of the preview so that they can do some things. I've heard so many technical nightmares about this. Don't cross your legs, or that may shut it down, or so many weird things. But we did get to go in the queue, and the queue I can say without a doubt, and maybe you will disown me for this. This is literally the best queue I've ever been in my entire life.
yeah, I'm with you. I thought it was hard to beat Gringotts, and I just think that Gringotts is so beautiful when you walk in, and then but this blows
Yeah,
Gringotts away. This is
yeah.
gorgeous. Yeah.
So then the question is it S tier? Because it's one of the two biggest ones. It's the one that most people are talking about. Some people say it's better than
Yeah.
Monsters. I didn't ride this one though, so I can't say. You're going to have to alone tell me where this one goes because honestly, again, I was blown away. The queue went on and on and on and on. And as you walk in and you come through the flue and then you're in that ministry, you were literally there. We went back and rewatched the movie afterwards, and it could not be more accurate to the movie than it is. And so we walked in there, and you're walking around and you're looking at all the details and the fans and the things blowing in the offices. And you go through, and when you get into Umbridge's office and the house elf, and it's so, and the cats, like every bit of it is so good. It's so good, and it's like I can't imagine that the attraction isn't amazing as well. So is it the best? Some people are ranking this one above Rise of the Resistance and above Monsters in their own like best attraction that ever was. What
Okay.
do you think? Where do you put it?
That's a tough one. I don't. It's I. Ooh, I don't know. That's so tough. I don't think it's better than. I don't think it's better than Monsters. I think Monsters is better. I still think Monsters is more impressive. But if you factor in the queue, I'm a ministry person. I really though. Rise of the Resistance is so over the top. I don't know. It's I've seen a lot of people comparing them and stuff. I gotta put it at S tier.
Okay.
It deserves S tier. You know, like I don't, and I'm not gonna spoil it or anything, but you know how those you're talking about how the queue feels larger than life, and you walk in and it feels like massive. You're this tiny person in this massive real thing. That's how the ride feels. So I think the fact that they've achieved this like huge, you know, thing. It gets a lot of credit. There's a couple things, obviously technical stuff that I mean, what's the
Well,
sign say behind me? All major theme parks have delays. So I think John
uh,
Hammond said it best. All
Well,
major
but
theme parks have.
and you know what? Even Rise of the Resistance, I mean, ran into
Yeah,
some
that is.
problems and some challenges, and like
I
the
yeah.
cannons used to mess it up, and they would turn those off, and so then the cannons weren't running, but they fixed them so they could do a POV video for Disney Plus, and that's literally the only reason they did it, I think. So it's one of that had a lot of problems when it came out, and so much so they opened the entire land without it, and it felt very similar when Ministry was open, but only for the queue when we were there. That I thought, oh, here we go again, because when you shoot for something that has never been seen before, you're going to run into issues and complications, and so I feel like that's just part of pioneering. I think at this point is trying to do that. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens opening day. But originally, when we knew it wasn't going to be open for the preview, the thought was that they would be lucky to have it open for opening day, and it sounds like that they at least exceeded that expectation.
Yeah. Yeah, at least they've gotten people on it and through. So
All
they're
right, so
working on
so
it. They're working.
yeah, all right. So to wrap this up, Annie, I think we've got our ranking here. So S tier we're saying is Monsters Unchained and Battle at the Ministry. For a must do, or tier A is Stardust Racers, Hiccups Wing Gliders, and the Minecart Madness. All three roller coasters, by the way, just throwing that out there.
Oh,
And then
wow.
rather not miss Arkanu, Untrainable Dragon, and I've forced your hand to put Mario Kart into that one. And then okay to miss, we've got Yoshi's Adventure, Curse of the Werewolf, Dragon Racers Rally, and Fire Drill. Is it disturbing that that's the longest line on here, or is it not? Is it reassuring that we only have one thing on Road D, walk on only, which is the carousel?
Oof.
You're almost calling your baby ugly at this point, aren't you? Because you're like, we love
What?
Epic. Well, no, 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 no. You get what I'm saying, though. Like, well, I mean, and we're like, there was a skip it line, like I said, that originally when you and I talked about ranking these, that I was like, let's put the skip it on there. And then I thought, I don't really think anything should be skip it here. I think everything has value in this park. I think it's a good mix in general.
Yeah, I think, and there's a variety, and I think one observation is that a lot of the height requirements are lower. It's funny you point out those are coasters, but for me, I'm not a coaster person, so when you point that out, I'm like, wow, I ride those and don't even it doesn't register that it's a coaster Donkey Kong hiccup because it's mild enough
It's
that
just it's just
so
fun. It's just a
yeah,
fun. It's
I
just a
just
fun ride.
yeah
But and they
yeah.
have those things in there. Fire Chief said, "Where is Astronomica?" We didn't do Astronomica, and we didn't do the Viking Playground in this one. So both of those are listed on Universal as being attractions, but we didn't include them in this list. So The other ones, Bowser Jr.'s Shadow Showdown, again, long name. That's something you do within the world of Super Nintendo World, and I've done it in California, but it wasn't open when we were, or no, maybe it was just that you have to it takes a
Get the
while to do
keys.
it because yeah, you have to have your power up band and you have to collect keys and you go in and you do this and it's cute and it's nice and I would do it again if I had more time. But that's listed as an attraction. But then there are also the meet and greets: Donkey Kong, Mario and Luigi, Princess Peach, Monsters Universe, or the Dark Universe Monsters, Toad, Hiccup and Toothless, which is so worth it. The Cosmos Fountain, which is kind of a show, and then the Monster Makeup Experience. These are those are things that you can do, but we just didn't count them as attractions. I feel like we kind of covered all the basics. There are 11 attractions and 2 shows, but those 2 shows, I think Disney would count them as attractions. I don't know why we wouldn't count them as attractions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is available if you guys, we'll take this and we'll save it and share it around our rankings here. But I feel comfortable with this one. I feel good about it. I can't wait to get back and do some more attractions in Epic and go back through all these. And again, I think Monsters and Battle at the Ministry are awesome. I just hate that the virtual queue exists. I like it because then you can come back, but I hate it because you can't. If that was the only thing I wanted to do, I'd like to be able to stand by for 4 hours and see it and do it. But they're not going to let you do that.
Yeah, I don't like the virtual line either. Hopefully it's gone. Hopefully they figure out a system, but we'll see.
Well, one of the things I heard was that with the virtual line on this one, that some people were riding it 3 times in the same day because they were able to just get one after the other on the 3 different times, and other people I heard didn't get in at all. So at least I feel like it should be connected with your ticket. That's just not the way the app works.
Yeah, I'm actually really surprised, and I almost sometimes question whether I believe people that are like, "Oh yeah, we wrote it 2 or 3 times," because I'm thinking, I know how hard it is to get a spot. I just can't imagine that someone got lucky 3 times, but maybe they just have a big group of people. I don't know. It just seems like it's so difficult to get. It's very hard to believe that that many people are getting them, over and over, and some people aren't getting them at all. So, but it is
Yep.
kind of lame that you can get them multiple times. It should kind of know when you got one, and
Yep.
but
All right. So, and you're going to come back Sunday night and do our Park Adventurers Club with us, and that's exciting. And we're going to be you, me, and Ron, and we're going to be talking about just what you need to know before you go to Epic. And so I'm excited to have the Annie, the expert on all things Universal. Check her out on Adventuring with Annie. Good golly, you're already racking up those subs. She's got a lot of content on here, videos and shorts, and does lives and parades and opinions and all that kind of stuff. And Annie, you're awesome. I appreciate you doing this and taking some time here. It's exciting.
no, thank you for doing this with me. I appreciate it. Always love your opinions. I always love chatting with you.
Aw. Okay. Thank you guys in chat for being here. Thanks. A big shout out to the pack, our Park Adventurers Club. Thank you guys for being members of the pack. Also coming up on our channel, we did a review of Black Widow last Wednesday. We're doing the Rank It tonight. Sunday night, we're doing Park Adventurers Club again, bringing Annie back to talk about Epic. And then next Wednesday, Patrick Hackett and I will be doing a review of Herbie Rides Again. So thank you guys for being here with us, for talking Epic with us. I hope we didn't spoil anything too much, but it's exciting, and I'm excited for this park to grow, for more people to get in there and have a good time with it, because it's a lot of fun. So thanks again for doing this, Annie. Everybody have a great weekend, and we'll see you Sunday night. Take care.